Top 10 Super Nintendo games. A Nintendo console? Yes, that's correct. Even though my favorite gaming system of all time is the Dreamcast, I actually didn't get a Genesis until way later. Instead, we had the Super Nintendo. You know, the one most YouTubers favor. That's a funny thing. And we have someone we haven't seen for a while. Chris. Hello, Chris.
What's up, Game Analyzer? The Super Nintendo contains some of our fondest
Number 10! Street Fighter Alpha 2. This is kind of a weird entry. I believe we bought it at a local video rental store randomly. We had played the first one on PlayStation, and then saw this one for Super Nintendo, and got it pretty suddenly. It's one of those games we played for hours upon hours. It's a game that we'll pick up and play years later just for the hell of it.
I personally like how on the arcade mode every character has a different final boss instead of it being just one specific one. It also has that grassy stage from the Street Fighter anime if you fight Ryu as Sagat. All in all, an awesome game, and I prefer it to Street Fighter 2. Maybe because we played that one on the Genesis mostly.
Number 9.
Jurassic Park. Have you ever enjoyed a game when you were a kid and then find out later that that game actually sucked? That's how this game was for me. Now, despite what everyone says about it, I still enjoy this game and spent hours playing it. And you have to admit, it was ambitious for its time.
He spent hours playing it. The first person view mode and the amount of different weapons that you can get was really neat. One thing people bitch about is the fact that the game doesn't tell you what to do. You know, like that one other game that's not really that popular. Now, it does have its flaws, like no save feature. The game is pretty much unbeatable unless you have tons of time on your hands. Every time I played this game, it was a completely different experience. I like stuff like that. And plus, the music was incredible. Number 8, Soul Blazer. Now, I never really played this game. This is kind of more of Chris's game, so I'm gonna let him take the floor.
Well, I remember picking this game up when I was like 12 at a video store called Videos to Go, and I rented it and I played it for a long time, but I never finished it, and I ended up having to take it back. And then, you know, it was for sale and I bought it, and it was a pretty cool game.
The gameplay reminds me about, like, when I watch it, it looks like it's like Zelda. Is it anything like Zelda?
It's like Zelda, but I wouldn't compare it to Zelda. I would compare it more to like the PlayStation game called Dark Cloud.
Do you think it's better than The Legend of Zelda?
Well, that's a controversial question to me. I think it's better than Zelda.
There you go. It's better than Zelda, people. Number 7, Super Mario All-Stars. Now, what can I say about this game? This is how I first experienced all of the classic Mario games with this collection, and had all of the NES Mario games rebooted to 16-bit, and of course, Super Mario World. The amount of gameplay in the cartridge was insane for the time. On top of all of that, you can take advantage of different save files. When we had our NES, the only Mario games we played were the original and the third game. We didn't get to experience the second Mario until this one.
I remember me and my brothers would pretend to be sick just so that we could stay home and play this collection of greatness, and for that it deserves some recognition.
Alright, man, chill. Number 6, Super Mario RPG.
One of my favorite RPGs of all time without a doubt is Mario RPG. Malo and Gino are two of my favorite characters in fiction. Just the way they are presented from a storytelling standpoint was amazing. I don't even know where to begin with this game.
Then I'll just cut you off. The minigames, the story, and the comedy are just a fragment of what makes Mario RPG a masterpiece. My favorite thing about Mario RPG is the music. It brings nostalgic tears to my eyes. All in all, a great game. Pick it up if you can. I think it goes for about $5 on eBay or something like that.
Nah, I think it's $1.
Number 5, Battletoads and Battlemaniacs. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, Battlemaniacs.
It's just called Battlemaniacs.
Yeah, it's one of the hardest games I've ever played in my life. I have never beat it. I mean, I beat it, but I save stated. I beat it on an emulator.
You used ROMs.
Yep. I got past the bike stage. Yeah. I don't know how I did. I can't do it anymore. But I could not get past that fucking snake stage, dude.
I think like I would get stuck at the second stage, and I like the little mini game though where you're like skating on the checker pieces.
Oh yeah, like it looks like you're hitting bowling pins.
Yeah.
And you know what I really hated about that game?
What?
You couldn't pick Zitz.
Oh right, he got kidnapped.
Yeah, it was kind of like he was my favorite Battletoad of all time, and you know you're just being told in the beginning of the game you can't pick Zitz.
Well, that's the thing. Like in the NES, you couldn't pick a Pimple, right?
In the NES, yeah, you couldn't pick Pimple.
Yeah.
I think.
So let me ask you a question. Is the Super Nintendo Battletoads better than the NES Battletoads?
I think Battlemaniacs is better than the NES Battletoads by far.
Number 4, Mega Man 7, probably my favorite Mega Man game. Now if you pay close attention to my videos, you may have noticed that I went through a marathon and beat every Mega Man game. I'm at Mega Man 8 right now, but I have to say that Mega Man 7 is probably my favorite one so far. The amount of secrets, Easter eggs that are in the game were amazing. And the robot bosses, how come no one talks about them? Shade Man is badass. Now if you hold down the B button on his stage, the Ghosts and Goblins theme will actually play throughout the stage. When I played this game, it was like a big scavenger hunt, and I'm a big fan of that. So yeah, I think Mega Man 7 is a bit underrated.
I've seen Game Analyzer play this game and I was pretty surprised with how well made it was. I always thought Mega Man 7 was one of the weaker Mega Man games, but I stand corrected.
That's right, bitch. Number 3, Mega Man X. Now this game is on the list mainly for the music and the atmosphere. Now you have to understand that being the youngest of 3 brothers often meant I had to watch some of these awesome games be played before I even had a chance to play them myself. Mega Man X's music is a staple of my childhood. Something about it just strikes a chord. Being a musician, I personally love it when music can give you a physical reaction, and Mega Man X's music does that to me. It's like taking drugs.
The gameplay was amazing too. It really was the next evolution of Mega Man.
Was this the only Mega Man X game that you beat?
The only other Mega Man X game that I beat was X4, and yeah, that one was by far the best Mega Man X game I've ever played.
I think Mega Man X was actually probably the easiest Mega Man game. What do you think?
The easiest? Nah, I think X2 is the easiest.
X2?
Yeah.
I never beat X2.
Wait, no, X1, the reason why I think it was hard was because they ported it to the PSP, and then when you got to pick Vile in the PSP version, things got a lot harder. Like, it was just a totally different game when you got to pick him.
Oh, I'll have to check that out someday. Number 2, Separation Anxiety, a Spider-Man beat-em-up. Now, this game was kind of the beat-em-up of the household. Yeah, you had Final Fight 3, but we seem to play this one more.
I remember when I first got this game, my mom bought it for me, and I was like in first grade at the time. And my big brother always owned the Super Nintendo games, and I just wanted to own this one because I love Spider-Man so much. So I wrote my name on the cartridge, and I'm like, this is mine, bitch.
He's not talking about me, by the way.
Yeah, you're little.
But the gameplay, we gotta talk about the gameplay. Now, you know how those standard beat-em-ups, they don't really have special moves, you just kind of button mash. Well, Separation Anxiety had tons of special moves, like more than Streets of Rage 2 actually. You can web swing, you could swing, block with a shield, and you could throw people.
You can collide 2 people in together. Remember that?
Yeah, and if you jump and kick, it actually like hits all around you, just like Guy's special move in Final Fight.
And you could also hump each other like on the wall.
Oh yeah, you could really do that. We had a lot of fun humping each other on the wall. For some reason, you can do that.
This game was actually a spiritual successor to Maximum Carnage. That was also on the SNES. It was a red cartridge, remember that?
Yeah.
And oh my god, that game was too hard. I liked it and all, but Carnage was he was a real jackass. Like, he really pissed me off.
How's Carnage in Separation Anxiety? Is he still hard?
He's a bit harder, but you could beat him by throwing web at him, like just shooting it at him, and he becomes kind of like stupid, and you could punch him and kill him that way.
Now, I do have to say that I really like that boss rush right before you fight Carnage in
You
Separation
like it?
Anxiety. Yeah, because you save up all your guys, all those little superheroes that you collect on the way, like Ghost Rider, Captain America, and Daredevil, and you just unleash them on all of these bosses, and they get the job done. And then you pick up whatever scrap they leave off.
Well, what if you don't save up?
Well, then you're screwed. All in all, it's a really good game, and if you haven't played it, you should really check it out. Number 1, Secret of Mana. Our favorite Super Nintendo game of all time is Secret of Mana. It's a game that simply is the total package. The music was amazing, the gameplay was amazing. It's one of those games that's just perfect. Flying on that dragon on the overworld just blew my mind as a kid. I played it again recently, and I swear, something about the story was different.
Apparently, depending on what you do, you can actually get the different party members at different times. That's pretty darn cool, but the one thing that made Secret of Mana amazing was the co-op mode. If you grab the second controller and hold select, one of your friends can play as the other party members. And that's how we played this game. It was a blast, and it is still refreshing to play even until this day.
Secret of Mana is just an adventure that you kind of have to experience to really understand how good it is. I heard there was a sequel, but I don't think it was ever released in America. Have you heard of it?
Yeah, I heard of it. I actually played it through emulators. There was 4 players in that game. You had to huddle around. I don't even know if there was an extension to the Super Nintendo as far as controller ports are concerned.
Yeah, that sounds pretty cool. A 4-player RPG adventure. Now that's something I gotta check out. Man, I can't explain how good it feels to talk about these amazing Super Nintendo games. They're like staples of my childhood. Now, of course, this is in no way a definitive list, and there really is no such thing as one. These games are just what we hold dear to our hearts.
What are some of y'all's favorite Super Nintendo games? Be sure to tell us in the comments below.
And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Phoenix Splash TV. This is Game Analyzer.
And Chris.
Signing off.